Hello everyone, welcome back to another video in the channel Child More. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel Child More. Please remember to keep the comments just non-offensive, and let's get into the video. So, today is January 6th, 2026. Today, it marks the 5th anniversary of the January 6th, 2021 insurrection. That's 5 years ago that happened. It's all the responsibility of one man who gave the orders to the Trump mob to go and attack Capitol Hill. He believed that a few days ago, on the same year of 2021, he believed that the election was rigged. I heard that there was somebody that got in the Dominion voting system and were messing with the system. And yeah, the problem was looked at. And, it was, fixed. There was no, like, elections that were going to be rigged. Alright? The people that tried to rig the Dominion voting system. Okay, I believe this was, like, highly, real big crime. And I hope that the people that rigged the voting system, or Dominion voting system, I hope they went to jail for this, and were never let out of prison for this. But, okay, with that said, yeah, Donald J. Trump believed that the, election was rigged. He ordered his group of mob to go and attack Capitol Hill. He said that he would be with them and he would be walking with them and marching down Pennsylvania Avenue, which, in fact, never really happened and stuff. He was sitting back at the Oval Office, just watching his mob just do his dirty work. And, yeah, this is who Donald J. Trump is. Alright, he's a crazy, lunatic narcissist. The question I have is, how did he get his second term in 2025? And, not take any, and not get, not be allowed to serve again after inciting the January 6th insurrection in 2021. Alright, how did this man end up, getting into the White House? Alright, when he caused insurrection of the United States. Well, believing that the election was stolen from him. I mean, I don't get that. I don't get it. And, yeah, it's real, like, stupid. The only way that this would stop was when President-elect at the time, Joe Biden, he called on President Trump to end this madness. And, yeah. He was he was just supposed to, he just, yeah, Donald J. Trump, he just ordered them out to just go and attack the Capitol because he believed that the, election was rigged. And Joe Biden, he was telling a little kid, because that's what narcissists actually are. They're just, like, they just, it's stupid that you would have to tell a little kid that, hey, look, listen, bro, you need to, knock this off. Alright? It was actually pretty pathetic because, number one, you had to tell, a little kid, which is a narcissist, you had to tell a little kid to knock off his crazy behavior. And yeah, and it was very, very stupid, and it was very pathetic too. So yeah, and pathetic and stupid it was indeed. So I don't know what happened here, but the Donald J. Trump was just a stupid little child. And that was the kind of way that he had been. Yeah. Of course, he's known to lash out reporters and that stuff when he said something that he doesn't like and that stuff. He lashes out at people. This is what pathetic stuff that narcissists, this is, this is what, I'm gonna say for a little child being an old man, I'd say that would actually be very, very pathetic. And you have to tell a little child to knock it off when he's a grown man. Yeah, I find that just very, very pathetic, because that's what it is. Alright? It's very, very stupid indeed. But, I'm just, I am just, the whole thing is just, mind-blowing and that stuff. I can't, wrap my head around this one completely. But, Donald J. Trump is just, he's a crazy man, and he's just gonna do whatever crazy stuff that he wants to do. whatever's going on in that head of his, you know, he had this brilliant idea that the election was stolen. And this was just, you know, it was very, very stupid. Yeah, it was very, very stupid indeed. Yeah. And you know what? Everybody in America here just choose at, like, some points. They just choose on, like, what little kids they're going to act as. And, you know, it's really stupid. Really, I don't know what is wrong with people in America where they can actually just, you know, like, grow up and act like grown-up human beings. And here we are. It's just, you know, people act like stupid, pathetic little kids and that stuff. And, like, growing up is just, you know, it's like, it's that hard, you know? It's that hard. So, yeah, I don't understand what's so hard about growing up. I guess people don't want to grow up because it's just, you know, it's just too hard. I mean, growing up requires just complicated, multiple steps that are just, you know, hard to follow and that stuff. It's like, growing up is like following like a cooking recipe book and that stuff. It requires like a bunch of steps. And it's just, you know, it requires just way too much. Too much. And they're just complicated steps that people just don't want to follow because, you know, because the steps are just, you know, they're just too difficult to follow. Yeah. And, yeah, that's what is just really pathetic there, you know? You know, you know, I just don't want people just don't grow up and just act the way that they're supposed to. You know, it's not that hard and that stuff, but people make growing up nowadays make it harder than it actually is. So, like, why? I don't get it. Wrap my head around the whole thing. It's just, you know, it's just very, very puzzling. Like, me just trying to figure out this pig puzzle. And that's just, you know, it's just, you know, I just, you know, I can't imagine, you know, the level of stupidity, you know. I mean, we have people just all over the United States. I mean, so, like, what else would you expect? Right? They're just, you know, they're just, you know, stupid people. They don't know how to grow up. They don't know how to get a life. And that is just, it's the way people are. And they rather act like idiot morons because the steps required to grow up is just way too hard to follow. That stuff, it requires like so many steps that are just too difficult to follow. And that stuff. And the rules of growing up are just, it's just a hard book to read. Yeah. Like, somebody reads a book on how to grow up, and they said, alright, you know what, this stuff, these steps are just, too hard to follow anyway. That stuff. I'm just gonna act like a pathetic human being because, it's, the only book that I know how to, like, follow. Okay? Because, it's the only book that, these morons just know how to follow. And it's just what they are very good at, just following. But, hey, it's like anybody can just, not decide to grow up and get a life and live life the way that it was intended. Anyway, that's it for this video. To like what we said here, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel Charles Morris. Alright, this message was pretty important. I decided to just get this out here because, the whole thing was just mind-blowing. And that stuff. And, yeah, news media are talking about this as well. So, I think Trump's stupidity level has gone to, like, absolute, like, off the rails. I think to the point where Trump just doesn't even have his head screwed on right anymore. And his narcissist level has gone to, like, absolutely new heights. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Donald J. Trump has become a big-time loser, and he's going to make himself look more of a clown when he gets to prison in his orange prisoner suit. This is Charles Morris. Have a good day. I'll see you on the next video.